let's face it. As a daily driver, there are a myriad of choices out there on the market that are better than this. In fact, I'd contend most things are probably better than this. You know, maybe not a dump truck or a few other things. So, who cares? Jeeps are awesome. Hey, I'm Greg Cavanaugh of the Gallup Journey magazine. Thanks for coming here to my YouTube channel out on the interwebs. And stick around for a few minutes and I'll see if I can tell you why. You guys know that when it comes to my car reviews in particular, I'm a fairly pragmatic and straightforward kind of guy. And let's be fair here. If I reviewed this Jeep Wrangler Unlimited based on my normal set of criteria and credentials, it would be a pretty poor review on this vehicle. Because let's face it, I mean, think about it. The ergonomics here are marginal at best. When I first drove this thing, I couldn't even find the window switches. I pulled up to a drive-through to pick up some food, and I actually ended up opening the door to talk in the drive-through because I couldn't find the window switches. I mean, it took forever. The sight lines are poor at best. Aerodynamics don't exist. You know, fuel economy is abysmal. 16, 20, 18 combined. I mean, this is 2013. Those are not exactly stellar numbers. This is the upgraded Pentastar 3.6 liter with the 5-speed automatic. So you'd think performance would be decent, and you know, it's a pretty sluggish vehicle. I mean, this is supposed to be an upgrade over the old 4-liter inline 6, and I have to say I don't even remember how bad that 4-liter must have been then, because this to me is a pretty slow vehicle. Now granted, it does have a very slow throttle tip in, and I think that's supposed to aid in control when you're actually off-road like I am now. But around town, on-road, it just feels so sluggish. It has to downshift 2-3 speeds just to kind of maintain momentum going up the hill to my house. You know, one YouTube viewer already commented, you know, how great can this thing be on the highway when 50 miles an hour is top dead center on the speedometer? You know what? He's right. Out on the highway in a headwind, you can feel that it is hurting. I mean, that torque is high up in the rev range on the 3.6, the Pentastar, and you can tell. So by most accounts, right, this thing should fail. But here's the argument I want to make, because I love the Jeep Wrangler, and here's why. There are few vehicles, particularly in this price range, that can give the unique, authentic, purposefully engineered driving experience that a Wrangler brings. I mean, you could get something like an Aston Martin or maybe like a Shelby GT500 convertible, but as a whole, to get something that you want to take the top off, you want to come out here onto the sand or take it on the beach, crank up the music and have a good time, that's what this thing evokes. And the interior, everything that's been engineered specifically for this vehicle does just that. And that's what makes the Jeep cool. It provides an experience that few other vehicles really do. So let's check it out. You know, my buddy had a 2-door Wrangler in high school, and I always thought, you know, for something that's supposed to go out into the back 40 for days on end, the amount of space you get with a 2-door Wrangler just doesn't seem to match up with that. Well, and frankly, the Unlimited has solved that. I didn't realize how big these things were on the inside. I'm pretty impressed. You guys know I'm a stickler for space, especially cargo space, but the shape here, because it's so square, so upright, I mean, you can see this is the type of cooler people would bring on a big camping trip to the beach or whatever. 2 of these side by side is no problem, with a little extra depth behind that even. And because of the shape, you could stick 2 more on top of that and then strap them down to the spots here to lock everything down. So that's pretty cool. And then you can see I have the seat down. If there's only 2 of you and your girlfriend or whatever, you gain even more space. So I was really impressed by that. On top of that, you have a spot under here for cables, other dirty items that you just kind of keep in one out of the way. You have spots here for the bolts for the hardtop, which is pretty cool when you take it off. And even under that, you have the jack. So other than this subwoofer right here kind of getting in the way and changing the shape, kind of making it odd, it creates a little bit less usable of a space behind it. I have to say A+ on the space on the Unlimited, and it really adds to the value that this thing has an off-road adventure vehicle. So what makes the Jeep such an awesome, unique driving experience? Well, I'm out here wheeling a little bit in the bumps, the dirt, the rocks, and you know, it's the engineering and the details combined that remind you that this is a unique driving experience. Let's talk about the engineering. Besides all the attributes that make a Jeep, it's short wheelbase, great, you know, short overhangs, breakover angle, really maneuverable, the steering and so forth. You can just get it wherever you want it to be. The Dana axles, front and rear, four-wheel drive systems, ground clearance, all that stuff, right? But you know, even things like the speakers are built into the dash. There's these little tweeter pods mounted on top of the dashboard, so that, you know, and these are mounted into the roll bar, and same thing with the subwoofer on the back. It's so that you can have your tunes when you're out in the open air with the top off, right? You know, and speaking of having the top off, the doors here just have straps to keep them from going too far out, but there's no spring, there's no bracket or anything. So if you're facing uphill, they're hard to keep open, and if you're facing downhill, you can't reach them and they won't stay in a certain place. But you can take the doors off. And how many vehicles on the road can you take the doors off and go cruise around, right? So it's those things that make it a Jeep and what make the driving experience so cool. Now, Jeep has gotten hip to this, and they've combined details to accentuate that, right? It says since 1941 here on the grab handle on the dash. Up above the rear view mirror, there's this little grill of a, you know, silhouette of a Jeep grill. On the wheels, there's a little silhouette of an entire Jeep. Just all these cool things throughout the vehicle that, you know, combined with those engineering attributes of taking the top off, taking the doors off, going off-road, it makes it a cool, unique experience that few other things can give you out on the road. You know, so in this Jeep, what I'm doing now is basically light off-roading. It's a 2-track. It's really sandy and off camber with some rocks and lots of sagebrush and stuff to scratch up your paint. But other than that, I mean, this thing is so capable, and it's amazing how out on the road it kind of feels sluggish, and you know, it's just not that great. And then out here in the dirt, I love it. I mean, I'm having so much fun out here. I don't want to quit shooting. I hope this video doesn't end up being 20 minutes long. But you know, I can't trash this in the way other people do out on the webs when they own it, you know, slogging through mud and stuff like that. But it's just so capable. I've got it in 4 high right now, not even in 4 low, and the articulation, the way the suspension is composed out here, and then again, just that maneuverability of the size of the Jeep. You know, these things are great, and it's just so much fun. So I like it. I'm all grins here. I want to give a special thanks to the guys over at Tate's Automotive Group for letting me drive the Wrangler Unlimited for several days, bring it out here in the dirt and have a little bit of fun. And I want to thank you guys as usual for tuning in, subscribing, liking, viewing, everything you guys do. It's really encouraging. Happy summer, happy 4th of July, and we'll see you next time. Adios.